If you guys are thinking about moving to San Diego and you want a little more space, a little bit more laid back, some great outdoor amenities, whether it be hiking, parks, just like where we're standing right now, you want a little bit more affordable, this might be the spot for you. Also, not to mention great schools. We're gonna get into all that, show you neighborhoods, but we are in the city in the country. We are in Poway right now. We're in Old Poway Park. We're gonna show you around, check out a few neighborhoods, and let you know what this neighborhood is all about.
We do consider this North County kind of the most southern North County city, and it is not one of the bigger ones. It's only about just shy of 50,000 people here. One of the cool things is to keep that country feel, you have a ton of dedicated open space. More than 50% of Poway is open space, and there's 78 miles worth of trails. So if you're into hiking, this is a great spot too.
We are in Old Poway Park, and this is kind of like the quintessential vibe that I get when I think of Poway, right?
Yeah.
Like growing up here in North County, San Diego, I was San Marcos. This guy was a little bit more coastal. When we were thinking Poway, this is kind of what we were thinking. There's an old train station behind us. There's actually a train that cruises around on the weekends. This is also where they have the farmers market down here. And Poway does still have a little bit more of that rural feel. Certain areas, as you go a little bit closer to the 15 freeway, get a little bit more of the housing. That's kind of like the city part. Not really a city, but a little more spread, or a little closer, a little tighter in there. As you go towards the east, that's where you get a little bit more rural. The neighborhood right after this we're gonna show you is kind of Old Poway. So that typical Poway, when I always think of Poway.
Yeah.
But
the majority of the houses here are kind of that Old Poway feel.
Yeah, so we'll show you that here too. But then we're also gonna show you a brand new community as well, if you want that different vibe right here in Poway.
So as we're talking about these neighborhoods today, there are a ton of different communities within Poway. There's a ton of little developments, there's a ton of big developments, not really those master plan communities that we see in a lot of like Carlsbad, San Marcos. But if this one might be for you, or if you want Poway schools but you don't want to be in Poway, we've got some neighborhoods to tell you about too. So don't hesitate, reach out to us, call, text, email. We've got your back when moving to San Diego. So we're walking through what we kind of think is the traditional Poway neighborhood. A lot of single story. 80% of homes here in Poway are single family houses. So not a ton of townhomes or condos, mostly detached, single story. In this neighborhood, you're seeing a lot of lot sizes that are up to about a quarter acre, and we are in
Old Poway.
Old Poway, yeah. Exactly right. So this is really what you get. I mean, if you're looking for an affordable spot to get a single family home, this is definitely a great spot here in San Diego.
And while the lots are a lot bigger, you find the houses are usually a little bit smaller, 3-bed or 2-bath, kind of the 70s style homes, you know. That's like, this isn't all at Poway, but this is like what a lot of, like, once again, when we were growing up, this is kind of what I think of Poway, just because it is the most homes. As you go further to the south as well, you'll find a lot more homes. Now down there, they're a little bit smaller lots. So when you get into Old Poway, a little bit larger lots. Los Arbolitos, right up the road, it's a little bit more of that traditional suburban kind of, it is a master plan community, but a little bit more, you know, you'll find some 2-story homes and stuff in there. So far as like what you think of Poway, this is kind of going to be what we're thinking of right here.
So from here, where would your amenities be? Just right where we were, kind of by that Old Poway Park area. That's where you're going to find the ball fields, parks. You're going to find some of the kind of little more local restaurants, shops. A lot of your kind of more infrastructure is going to be a little bit further to the south, where you've got grocery stores and a little bit more of that big box store down there.
All right, I think I said the name was Los Arbolitos. It's actually Rancho Arbolitos, and this is like a non-traditional neighborhood here, completely different than what we were just showing you in that Old Poway. This is like 6 minutes away, so it's not too far. A little more traditional housing. You know, you have a little bit larger homes, 2,000 plus square foot range, and build times was like the mid 80s. So there's a big section in here, definitely California style. What'd you say when we were driving in?
Kind of boring.
Kind of boring, which a lot of those bigger communities are. So you do have a little touch of that in certain parts of Poway as well. Now we're at Lake Poway, in the eastern portion of Poway here. We're looking out of these mountains here. There's some great hikes, and you said, oh, there's not long hikes, but that was that sign. We'll pop in the sign. That's just the trail to get to the trailhead. So it's like half mile to get to this one, 0.9 to get to that one. One of the most popular hikes up here is Potato Chip Rock. I keep saying on these videos, I'm gonna do it. One of these times I will. So
you and every other San Diegan.
Yeah, it gets busy. Even today, what's today, Friday at noon?
This parking lot's packed.
Dude, it's wild.
Yeah,
yeah, we're expecting just nobody out here, but you can fish in the lake, you can rent some boats, you can rent like little paddle boats, cruise around. And I just saw on the sign back there too, fishing, you do not need a California fishing license to fish here, which is pretty nice. It's not crazy expensive. Most other lakes around, you're gonna need a California fishing license plus a day pass for wherever you're going. But here, nice, you don't really need that. Right here also, there's like the lookout. It's like a little cafe kind of thing, coffees, little brunch sandwiches, that kind of stuff, overlooking the lake. So if you wanna get out here and just get a cup of joe, enjoy the view, it's a good spot to do that as well.
So you also have camping here. So there's a couple little campsites in this park, which is pretty rad. There's just a lot to do here. I mean, there's 700 acres of open space just to the north of us here. And it just gives Poway that feel of being a little bit more wild, a little bit more, like we talk about it being more country, but it just has more space and just, it's great. I mean, it took us 8 minutes to drive here from our last spot, and we're looking at these beautiful mountains, walking around a lake. It's great. You also do have more parks than just this. There are playgrounds here as well, but there's a ton of parks to the south, which we're gonna go check out. A little bit later is Poway Park, which has some great amenities there as well.
And back on these hills here, kind of over that way, is like even eastern Poway. And back there you find, we're not going there. We're not gonna go to those houses. But if you guys want like a lot more land, you want a lot of quiet, it's actually perched up. We actually have a little bit of elevation here. Like there's not a ton of elevation here in San Diego, but we got a little bit right now. So there are some opportunity for views at back that way as well. But all that, like, I mean, Lake Poway is a great amenity to have right here.
Before we get into weather, we've got the Tony Gwynn statue back here, a little memorial to longtime Padre, I guess forever Padre.
Yep.
Tony Gwynn.
Mr. Padre himself.
Mr. Padre, yep. So cool memorial statue here. What was the quote?
I don't know, that's what I was just gonna get. I'm gonna get out my phone and read the quote that because it's the second time I've seen it. I just saw it at Snapdragon Stadium when we went there last weekend to see the FC play. But remember these two things: play hard and have fun. Tony Gwynn. I mean, come on.
Key to baseball.
Can't be better than that. But
yep.
A little bit about weather in Poway. We're out a little bit further east, so you start getting a little warmer out here. You go in like mid 80s during the summer times. During winter times, you're kind of like high 60s-ish, but definitely during those winter times, it gets a little bit colder. I mean, a lot of areas of San Diego do this too. Get down into like the mid 40s.
Yep.
You know, so it gets a little chill. You don't think it gets that cold here in San Diego, but I mean, I would say mid 40s is pretty cold.
Yep.
But
for us,
for sure. And then as far as like, usually we don't have this, but we're in May 2nd. Yeah, we don't have trees. This showed up right now. This is like our May gray. And a lot of times we're like, the coastal marine layer, it doesn't go too far inland because we're pretty far inland here.
Yep.
But obviously during this time, you get this coverage a lot. Even San Marcos, you're about kind of even a little bit further,
off, yeah.
or sorry, a little bit closer to the coast. But sometimes it clears up, sometimes it doesn't. But May gray and June gloom, yeah, it's really a thing here in San Diego. But
literally on May 2nd,
yeah,
it is May gray.
Rolled in.
And it looks like a day that it probably won't burn off.
Yep.
So we'll see. Now we're walking through Green Valley, which is a really cool community here in Poway. Definitely a little bit larger lots.
A lot larger.
A lot larger,
like
yeah.
You're looking like half acre on up from there.
Yeah, exactly. Still that ranch style for a lot of the houses here, but larger, a little bit more upscale than that kind of old Poway style. On our way here, we passed a couple of the gated neighborhoods that are a little bit more upscale, a little more, just price points a little bit higher. Gated communities like Madeiras and a couple others. But this one has kind of that rural and upscale feel, which is cool. And there's a lot of separation, a lot of privacy. And around Green Valley is a lot of neighborhoods that are like this, that are just a little bit more of that rural feel, but aren't the traditional Green Valley neighborhood.
And out here in Green Valley, there's a Green Valley Civic Association, the GVCA, and it's a volunteer-based nonprofit organization. It was established in 1960. I don't think the city was even established until like 1980, so it was even before that. They were looking out for this area as far as kind of what is going on, but they're here to represent and advocate for residents of North Poway. And unlike a homeowners association or HOA, the GVCA does not enforce CC&Rs, but focuses on preserving the area's rural character and quality of life. The association actively engages with city officials, monitors land use developments, and hosts public forums to address community concerns. And through these efforts, the GVCA has played a significant role in shaping policies and developments that align with the interests of North Poway residents. If there's new developments going on, if there's new things going on, I mean, they do cover a lot, and they try to keep the character and kind of currently what is going on right here in this Green Valley area. All right, now we are at a new construction community, recently a few years old. I mean, there's still some of these yards that we were cruising through here, are still not landscaped. So you can see that people are starting to do that in other sections, like the original sections are a little bit more landscaped, but awesome little spot. We're at the farm here in Poway. Used to be a country club right here, and you can see on the outskirts the older homes, and then where we're standing right now is all the old golf course. So you got a few miles of trails in here. You have like some little community shared, what do we see, a citrus, little citrus area. There's a community garden. They're gonna have a little tot lot, dog park, that kind of stuff in here, and a little community center. So, and I did read that it's not only like those little community amenities aren't only for the farm community, they're for Poway residents in general. So even if you're not living here, you could potentially come check it out. But if you want new construction, there's not a ton of new construction right here in Poway. This is one of them. We did pass another one as we were heading in here, a little bit down the road, a little bit more towards that old Poway area. So you'll find a few here and there, but not a ton. But if you want new construction, this might be a good little spot for to check out.
One of the big reasons people move to Poway is for the school district. There's 11 schools here in actual Poway, but the district is a lot bigger. So if there's some other areas that they feed into the Poway school district, and some of those are Forest Ranch, Torrey Highlands, Rancho Penasquitos, and Rancho Bernardo, and a bunch more. So if you're thinking about moving here and you want to know a little bit more about those, definitely get in touch with us, call, text, email. And then speaking of schools, right around the corner from us here is one of those schools. We are at the Poway Community Park on the southern section of Poway. Sports courts, big swim center, playground, really cool spot, definitely worth checking out. But let's go talk about a little bit more of the amenities of Poway.
So right now at the community park, we're in the southern section of Poway. This is where you're gonna find a lot of infrastructure. Now up to the north and kind of along the 15, you'll find a few other spots as far as shopping and that. There's a little Target up to the north a little bit, kind of where we came into Poway. You guys don't know where that is because we didn't show that part. But this whole south area, you're gonna find a lot of shopping centers, a lot of the big box stores where you find like your Lowe's. A little bit to the south during the business park, we'll get into that in a second. That's where you're gonna find the Costco. But you know, a ton of stores up there, a ton of different shopping centers, all up and down Poway Road right here. So everything you need. If you want to be super close to that, you're going to be in this southern section. This is the area as you go a little bit further east where you're going to find some of those smaller homes, or smaller homes, but also smaller lots. Whereas a lot of the other areas we showed have a lot of bigger lots, right? So that's all down here. Everything you need right here. Some local stuff, some chain stuff, everything. As you go further south is the business district. There's about 500 different businesses down there. General Atomics is one of the biggest one you'll find. That's their headquarters. They have if you look on a map, Google Maps, and you zoom in there, there's like every other building is General Atomics, and it's spread out. It's not like one big campus, but that's all down to the south. There's like 18,000 jobs down there. So there is, well, you don't think of Poway as having like a big business district. There is obviously somewhat infrastructure down there for that.
So Poway itself does have most of the infrastructure you're gonna need, but just off the 15 freeway, like Chris mentioned, we didn't show you that. But as we come in, you're passing Black Mountain, which has a ton of options. You got your Home Depot, you've got a lot of different shopping and restaurant locations there. So if you're thinking about living in Poway, if you're thinking about living maybe somewhere else in San Diego, definitely hit us up, call, text, email. We've got your back when moving to San Diego.
And we are the guys who answer those calls, texts, and emails.
Yes.
So you're going to talk to one of us, but hit us up. And we did totally lie to you guys. It is beautiful,
blue skies,
sunny right now. We got probably about 10 degrees warmer. So it does burn off out here. We're just complete liars. So, but anyways, hit us up if you guys need something.